We got everybody? Guys taking attendance? Okay, great. Well, listen, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today for this historic bill signing. And this is historic, unanimous, bipartisan legislation coming out of our great legislature. Today is about a number of things, but today is really about respect. I think that we want to send a signal across our state and across our nation that while everybody talks about supporting those that defend our families and defend our freedoms, that in this, what I would call back the blue, but of course when we're talking about North Dakota Highway Patrol, we're back in the brown also. But it's really about respect, because we can say that we care about those that put their lives on the line every day, whether it's our firefighters or our law enforcement. But we know that in a country that's based on freedoms, the freedoms can only keep working in a democracy if people respect the rule of law. And so again, what we're saying here today, at a time in our country where there's been an erosion of support, not in our state, but an erosion of support for those people that are out there defending the principles of freedom from which our country is based on. An erosion of support in some cases for those that are again providing that first responding support through our firefighters. But here in North Dakota, we have in front of us a piece of legislation, when signed, that's going to allow us to send that signal that if you've worked in law enforcement, if you've been a firefighter in another state, if you move to North Dakota, you know that you're not going to have to wait 5 years to get the support and the coverage you need for you and your family. And so I think this is an important signal that we're sending. And I want to begin with gratitude for all the guests that we have here today. Fantastic turnout of fire chiefs, police chiefs, and mayors, legislators from across the state who've all played an important role in educating people, working on and supporting this important bill. Representative Shannon Roars-Jones, who introduced the bill, a number of great co-sponsors, Representative Jim Jonas, Senator Judy Lee, Senator Jeff Barta, Senator Diane Larson, Senator Kathy Hogan, Representative Scott Lauser, Representative Austin Schauer, Representative Paul Thomas, Representative and former Sheriff Pat Heinert. We also have West Fargo Mayor Bernie Dardis, West Fargo Police Chief Dennis Otterness here, and Art Thompson, the Director of North Dakota Workforce and Safety and Insurance, who's a member of our cabinet, West Fargo Fire Chief Dan Fuller, and Stephanie Daggeson Engerbretson, the Chief of Police Association of North Dakota. Some would say that this bill is probably long overdue, but it was a relatively recent case that brought it to the forefront. And also joining us here today is West Fargo Police Officer Tim Brown, standing directly behind me. He suffered a heart attack in November of 2021 while booking 2 women into the Cass County Jail. He had just joined that force in January, but of course he had prior service in another state. He was denied workers' compensation benefits under our current state law. An officer or firefighter who was injured must have worked continuously for 5 years in North Dakota before it was presumed that their injury was a result of the work. And remember that you don't get to be a firefighter or a police officer in North Dakota unless you pass a physical first. And so previous service in another state or another profession didn't count towards meeting that 5-year requirement. And the House Bill 1279 still requires the 5 years of service, but it counts the years of service from other states, common sense addition. It also adds a new section that provides workers' comp coverage for heart attack, strokes, and other similar cardiac events that occur within 48 hours after a law enforcement or a full-time firefighter engaged in strenuous activity related to their job, regardless of how long the individual has served in North Dakota. This bipartisan bill, which I stated earlier, is passed both chambers unanimously, has a retroactive clause in it to cover the case of the West Fargo police officer and also 2 firefighters in our state who were previously denied coverage due to the length of service requirement. You may think this is not that significant, but we all know that when you've got denied coverage for your insurance related to your work, that can mean hardships, financial hardships, because the cost of health care for one of these events could easily run over $100,000. This is a great bill for officers and firefighters in our state. It's a great signal that's being sent to the rest of the nation, and that signal is, again, that we truly, in North Dakota, when we say we back the blue, that this lets every law enforcement and every firefighter in North Dakota, every prospective law enforcement and firefighter across the country, know that if you serve in North Dakota, from the first day on the job, we will stand with you, we'll stand with your family, and we'll stand with all your brothers and sisters in uniform. We're deeply grateful to the legislature for its decisive action on this bill. Again, this is something that I called for in the State of the State, and this is the second bill to come out of this session. Thrilled to see it here, thrilled to see it passed with an emergency clause, and so this bill will take effect immediately, including those retroactive components, and this will provide our full-time law enforcement and full-time firefighters with the coverage they deserve while helping address our workforce challenges to assure that our police and fire departments are fully staffed to keep the public safe. And I want to also note that, again, thank the legislatures because they understood and recognized broadly all of the full-time law enforcement we have in the state. So this covers all of those licensed officers who work for the Bureau of Criminal Investigation as part of the AG's office, our Department of Corrections team, our game wardens that are on the front lines, our park rangers that are also licensed law enforcement, local police, the licensed campus police, and sheriff's department across the state. And so again, this touches a lot of people and a lot of family in our state. And again, I want to thank the bill sponsors and everyone here who worked on and advocated for this legislation. I'd now welcome and will enjoy hearing from the legislators who introduced the bill. First Shannon Roars-Jones, then co-sponsor Judy Lee to say a few words, and then we'll back up to introduce some folks from law enforcement. Representative Jones. Again, congratulations and thank you.
First of all, I mean, the governor has done an amazing job summarizing all of the work that goes into the bill and kind of the premises that that underlie why we're doing what we're doing here today. We certainly can't reasonably expect our law enforcement personnel, our firefighters, to put their lives on the line, and when they literally put their lives on the line, we're not here to support them. It was about a year ago that I learned about the circumstances that are bringing this bill forward and began to work with some of our law enforcement personnel, our legislators from West Fargo, because that's where the situation occurred, and start to craft the language for this. But honestly, it can't be overstated how much collaboration went into getting this bill passed in as quickly as a short amount of time as we did. Generally, bills take between 3 and 4 months to make their way through the legislature, and I think we're at just about I think we're a little under 2 weeks start to finish getting this bill through the legislature, and that just underlies the commitment with all of the legislators, all of the professionals who have worked on this, and we can't forget to mention all of the staff who really jumped through hoops to make sure that the drafts were done efficiently, the amendments were incorporated quickly, to get things quickly moved from one chamber, from committee to chamber, from chamber to the other chamber, and around to accomplish this as quickly as we did. We have committee staff, we have legislative council, we have our front desk staff, we have our House and Senate leadership. Everyone really collaborated to make sure that we were able to accomplish this in the record speeds that I think that we did. And so I want to make sure that we thank them. Also, we had collaboration both from our Director of Workforce Safety, who you'll hear from, also from Attorney Stephanie Dassinger Ingebrigtsen from the League of Cities, where Attorney Dassinger Ingebrigtsen could have just come in and opposed this bill because of the potential fiscal impact that it would have had to the cities. She came in with creative solutions, and we really were able to work together and find something that not only didn't raise the insurance premiums for our subdivisions like they were concerned that we would, but was able to still solve the problems that we were looking to solve for our law enforcement. It was a very interesting process in the fact that because we had so much support, things happened even faster than we expected them to, and I want to make sure that we thank our law enforcement and firefighters who literally dropped everything to come on about 23 and a half hours notice for a hearing that we were not expecting to have happen until a week later. It's clear that everyone understands why how important it is that we pass this in the way that we did, and I'm happy to be a small part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Lee?
Good afternoon. I'm excuse me, very happy to be a part of this, and I really do thank Representative Shannon Roars-Jones for having taken the lead on this. We found that we were both working on something in this area, and she was concerned about it, and so was I. It was really interesting to those of us who had seen the information, sat with the West Fargo law enforcement and mayor's staff and all, to go over the records about what was going on and how it seemed so very unfair. So thanks to everyone who has been involved with this, and I think we're all very happy to have Officer Brown with us today. So appreciate everybody's hard work.
Thank you, Senator Lee. Chief?
Good afternoon. Just want to start by thanking the same folks that the governor did. This has been an amazing process. I think back 15 months ago when we were standing in an emergency room for a second time in 5 months with a police officer that had a heart attack on duty. And from that time till now, the collaboration with Mayor Dardis, our elected folks in West Fargo, Senator Lee, Representative Jonas, and Representative Schauer initially having these conversations just to see what's transpired over the last 2 to 3 weeks out here, certainly with a ton of support from the governor's office. We're very appreciative of that. But at the end of the day, it's about everybody behind me here, all the police officers, firefighters that do go out every day to put their life in jeopardy to serve everybody else, and certainly Officer Brown and the struggles that his family has been through. And we have been beside them the entire time. So just a heartfelt thanks to everybody that really put this on the front burner and got things done on behalf of Officer Brown and our department and all the other law enforcement in North Dakota and all the firefighters. So thank you again, and thanks for the support, Governor.
Thank you, Chief.
Appreciate it.
Art?
As the governor mentioned, today truly is a historic day in terms of benefit expansion for WSI coverage for law enforcement and full-time fire. Currently, there are 52 jurisdictions that provide workers' compensation coverage throughout the United States. 30 of those states have a presumption clause similar to what we had in North Dakota that required a years of service trigger before these claims would be accepted. That years of service ranged anywhere from 2 to 12 years. The average was 5 years, which is where North Dakota was. With the signing of this legislation today, I'm proud to say that North Dakota will be the only state in the country that will have this benefit level for the men and women who put on law enforcement uniforms and firefighting gear to protect our great state. Contrary to what some might believe, WSI is not able to arbitrarily adjudicate claims. We follow statute, and the statute that we followed was something that all of these people in this room recognized was an issue. And a bipartisan effort, a lot of conversations, a lot of compromise, a lot of great ideas of how can we make this work. I stand here as the director of WSI today to tell you that I'm proud to have been part of this effort, and I'm thankful that the governor will soon be signing this important piece of legislation into law, and that we can provide these benefits moving forward, again, to the great servants of the public safety of North Dakota.
Thank you. Thanks to all of our speakers, and I want to thank Art Thompson for his leadership of WSI. We're going to move now to bill signing, so we'll strike the podium and get a chair in here to do that. But I would say before we do that, take it away. I just want to say that this is to all of you, this is the safest I've ever felt in this conference here. But I know we've also got fire leaders here as well, so I hope that if anybody's seen the rated capacity for the room, we got that sign. We may be in violation on that front, but we'll feel very safe even though we might be over capacity. You gotta slide up on here, Judy, slide up on here too, and everybody else kind of fill in behind if you can.
This way I get to be taller than somebody.
I want to assure the legislators that my staff and I have read every word of this bill earlier today, so.
There'll be a quiz.
And I know Lieutenant Governor Tammy Miller is here as well, and fun to see her signature on here twice, once as President of the Senate, but also because of the unanimous clause. But with that, we'll proceed. Here we go. I'm gonna, what everybody, we'll do, on the bill sign, we'll do one where everybody looks up first to the cameras.
Okay.
We'll do that. Okay, and now away we go. It is law. And would love to give the pen that turned it into law and give that to Officer Brown. Thanks, sir. Congratulations, everybody. Well done.
I want to step on your name.